Hey everybody, King Matt here and welcome to the channel. In this video we're taking a look at the new Warlord Games 28mm American Civil War box sets. Now these are due to be released in October. If you go to the website now, they are actually available for pre-order. I've managed to get my hands on them early because Warlord Games are very kind and sent me the two box sets to sort of have a look at on the channel. I plan on doing an unboxing and a review on both of these box sets. It's going to be done in 2 videos per box set. So the first video is going to be unboxing. We'll have a look at the miniatures as they are. And then the second video is going to be once I've sort of painted them up, and I'm going to give a bit of a review of what I think of them. So the first video, I'm going to be taking a look at the American Civil War Zouaves. Now, Warlord Games have listed these as a Zouave regiment. However, they are a specific sort of type of Zouave regiment, which we'll get into on the unboxing. However, that does not limit on what you can use these for. There were plenty of regiments that use this sort of uniform type. So what we're going to do now, we're going to jump down onto the unboxing. We're going to take a look inside this box. Okay, and here's the box. So what I'm going to try and do is just sort of show off the box art first and the box itself for anyone interested. So very nice artwork. I need to look up who this artist is because it's I think it's probably the same artist who's done sort of work for Perry Miniatures box sets. Now I'm not sure that was artwork that was done for the box sets or it's just artwork that has existed before and they just used it for the art for the box sets. I'm unsure. But very nice. So this Zouave regiment here looks very much like the 14th Brooklyn, which were a very famous Zouave regiment. So very nice. And on the back here, Warlord Games, or whoever they got to paint them, has chosen the 14th Brooklyn as well. As you can see here, it literally says that. There you go. This Zouave's unit has been painted as the famous 14th Brooklyn. So yeah, which is a nice paint scheme. It's nice, especially on the table. This is what Zouaves bring, I think, bring to the game. Really, they make a really nice, colourful unit. So, which yeah, the box art shows really well. So on the back, it shows us what we've got. The good thing with Warlord as well, you're not just getting the miniatures. You're getting obviously the miniatures. You can get these little decals in the box sets as well. So they're used for sort of the cappies or the caps. They supply you some MDF snake fencing and some flags and some bases. So I'm gonna have to apologize for the noise of the road. Until I invest in a better mic, we're gonna have to use my phone and it picks up everything, and the road is noisy at the moment. As I'm yeah, I live on a noisy road, unfortunately. So I've got a nice little bit of detailing about the Zouaves. Now Zouaves regiments, without going into a history lesson, the Zouave regiments were very popular early war. So you find a lot of these regiments started with Zouave uniforms, and as the war went on, they sort of shifted to sort of more generic uniform because it was easier to get hold of. Zouave uniforms, from what I've read, tended to be quite fancy but maybe not as durable, so they tended to wear out quite quick. So what we're going to do here is take a look in the box. If you haven't seen any of my videos before on these Warlord Games box sets, you're going to tell now that these are in fact resin miniatures. They are not plastic. They're Warlord resin, or Warlord plus resin, which is a different thing altogether when it comes to metals and plastics. However, from my experience, I've not had a problem with it. It's sort of like a softer material, which is a bit odd to work with. It's like soft but brittle, but yeah, I don't know. I've not had much trouble with it yet. So, but here we go. Let's have a look at this. Nice little bit of artwork. Again, some information about the Zouaves. What I'm going to do, something I should have looked up before I started this video, or at least written down. However, I have done some research ahead of this video because at first I was a bit worried that there wasn't enough Zouaves wearing this specific type of uniform, which I'll get into in a sec, to really make the most out of this box set. However, doing some brief research, I found quite a lot of regiments, so at least 6 or 7 Union regiments and 2 or 3 Confederate regiments which wore cappies as a Zouave regiment rather than the fez and turbans. So yeah, you do have plenty of options, which is nice. And yeah, it's kind of, they've obviously got the flags of some Zouaves here, so you can kind of you know what Warlord were thinking when they've chosen these flags. So yeah, that's a handy set. So, and you've got the 14th Brooklyn, which again is what these the box sets painted them in. Right, so nice little bit of artwork, which is nice if you're coming up with ideas or inspiration. Obviously snake rail fencing, nothing special, but Swiss precision snake rail fencing. After you have a few boxes, you're going to have a nice collection of these and maybe be able to make a decent bit of terrain or scenery, which is great. Right, just get the boring stuff. Get the boring stuff out of the way first. Some Warlord Game bases. I don't use these, I use my own, but you've got plenty enough. If you're doing 4 to a base on the 40mm base, you've got way more than you need. And if you want to do some like skirmishes or something like that, plenty, which is great. And then we're going to look at the miniatures. So I'm going to make an assumption that if these were based off the previous box sets, they were sort of in pairs, you know, so you had 12 individual miniatures, sort of, if you ignore the command. So yeah, actually say 10 different miniatures, which was great. Something I was going to say, which again I've messed up on my research, I'm rushing this video out at the moment just because I want to get it done as early as I can for you guys. But obviously this range is a previous range, it's not brand new to Warlord Games. It was a Forgotten Glorious range of metal miniatures which Warlord bought, and they are now releasing for themselves. So yeah, that's one thing to note, that these were originally sort of metal castings that Warlord have gone on to use their resin. So which I don't know people's opinions on metal miniatures, but I for one think they're great for detail. So there's that. Right, so one thing I've noticed straight away compared to the other advancing infantry kit that Warlord do, these chaps have got their arms sculpted already. I say sculpted, part of the body already. Now if you want to go back, check my other video out, my previous video on the advancing infantry, all the arms are separate, the gun arms that is, so you've had to like glue them on, and to be honest they were a little bit fiddly. However, these come as one piece, which that saves a lot of work, which I don't mind. Fair play. You know, because it was a little bit fiddly, but yeah, I feel like you've got the best of both worlds. You've got these sculpts that were originally sort of metal sculpts from Forgotten Glorious. Warlord come in and put their resin in it, so you're getting that same crisp detail, but you haven't got these heavy miniatures. And you know, I'm sure some of you know, if you've got a full metal unit, whether that's Napoleonic, American Civil War, whatever, you notice the weight when you're carrying them around between games or even just on the table. So yeah, but I feel like they've done a really good job. You still get, you haven't lost any of that crisp detail. I'm actually currently painting up the artillery set, and that'll be released soon as a little video, but I'm really enjoying them, really enjoying painting those up. It's just full of character. So I'm going to try my best, without waffling too much and taking ages, I'm going to have a look some of the miniatures, just see how many duplicates we've got and see if they're on a similar setup to the previous one, where you'd have like say 2 miniatures and they're just duplicated, or not 2 miniatures, but you know, they'd be in pairs. I'm going to take this moment whilst we're just looking at the models, just to talk about the Zouave regiment they've chosen to depict, or you know, the uniform they've chosen to depict. So this is a type of Zouave regiment, and these miniatures are Zouaves that wear kepi hats instead of the fez or the turbans, and they wear a trouser or pants for you Americans, sort of a straight trouser rather than the big baggy trousers that the other Zouave regiments would wear, more of a traditional sort of African attire. So these guys have got the trousers. So if you look at the Perry's box set, for example, you get a choice of turbans or fezzes for the heads, and then you get these baggy trousers. So now there's lots of different Zouave regiments in the war, and some wore uniforms like this, for example, and some wore uniforms a bit like the Perry miniatures, where they've got the fez and the baggy trousers. So when I was obviously talking about it previously, and I've spoken about this box set previously in other videos, that I was a bit unsure about how much you could use this box set. Again, they are specific to a type of regiments. However, there were a handful of regiments that you could use. For example, I think it's the 33rd New Jersey, wore kepis. You've got the 11th Indiana, which I think wore kepis. Obviously the 14th Brooklyn, which were a very popular regiment, so these will probably be painted up as a 14th Brooklyn. And you've got the 73rd New York, I believe, Zouaves, which wore kepis as well. So quite a few wore kepis. They might not necessarily, they might have worn the baggy trousers and kepis, but it depends how fussy you want to be. I feel like, again, talking previously or a bit earlier on, how some regiments started the war in Zouave uniforms and they kind of phased them out as the war went on because they were tricky to get or they just weren't lasting. That's where you might have saw the baggy trousers go out of fashion, and then the more straight cut trousers came in because they were just getting sort of standard army issue uniform, whereas they might keep their Zouave jacket, for example. Right, so here's a bunch of just advancing infantry. We'll just get through this. We'll have a look at the command quickly, and then what I'll do, I'll just chuck these guys on the turnstile, the little spinny thing, and we can just check them out that way. Right, so nice little box. I'm going to try get through this because I'm aware you just don't want me waffling, but I'm trying to show off a box because it'd be useful to some people if I can get into it. Thank you. Start with thank you, Alice, for packing. Oh, what am I doing? I don't want to just rip it open and risk throwing everything everywhere, but right, we're in. I don't know if I said, obviously you get 24 miniatures, and it says on the box, that's the little decals you get, which are nice. They're tiny, but they kind of go on the cap if you want, you know. Right, so some more infantry. More infantry. I'll have a look in the meantime, and I'll chuck it up on the screen. Duplicates, for example, that looks like 3 guys straight off the bat that look the same. Right, so standard infantry, and then we're going to have a look at so we've got some more infantry here, but they are missing their arms because they come separately. Now I wonder why that is. I'm not sure. Again, maybe right there, flag bearers. Another flag bearer or standard bearer, whatever you want to call it. That's a standard bearer because he's got the carrier for the flag. Nice drummer. This is what's nice about this set. You obviously they're in running poses or double quick poses, so that's always looks nice really, rather than just sort of advancing. You've got this drummer running, trying to keep his hat on, which is very nice. Here's a bugler, which is nice again in that advancing pose, which I prefer to their other buglers who look a bit of a weird pose. You'll see that in the advancing or the charging infantry box set that I'm going to be doing next. I'm just not so sold on that, but this pose is lovely. And then look at this guy. That's a nice officer. Very nice officer. I'm going to say something quickly again about this box set, which it's labeled as a Zouave regiment, and you can do it for either side, because there were definitely regiments in the Confederates that wore something similar to this. For example, you've got the Maryland Guard or the 2nd Maryland Regiment. Now they wore kepis and they were Zouaves. However, this officer is quite clearly a Union officer because of his shoulder bars. Again, if you're going super early war, where quite a lot of these Zouave regiments were about, you might have a Confederate officer in similar Union uniform, because they weren't really standardized as Confederate uniforms way back, you know, that first Bull Run, for example. But this guy's very much a Union infantry officer, so I think if you shaved off the shoulder bars, you could probably get away with having him as a Confederate. So fairly simple to do. However, yeah, this guy's very much a Union guy here, but yeah, not much work, and you could change him. But yeah, what a lovely pose that is. What a lovely pose. And then we've got our flags. Again, talking about a Union regiment, there's 2 standard bearers here, one for each flag. And now if you're a Confederate, you probably wouldn't have 2 flags unless you were early war. But right, I'm going to stop there because I've waffled a long old time. I'm going to chuck these on little turnstiles, say my last little thoughts, and that'll be the end of the video. Alright, here they are chucked up on the turn plate. So yeah, from a kind of a quick glance, they look very nice, very crisp. I'm going to enjoy painting them, I'm sure. I haven't chucked some of the arms on some of the standard bearers because just that's for when I'm going to glue them. But you know, just very roughly chucked up on here. Something I didn't mention about this set as well, obviously they've quite a few of them got backpacks on as well, which I love that in the miniatures, so that's a plus for me. And then some blanket rolls and stuff scattered in. But yeah, so I hope this unboxing has been useful for you, anybody. If you're interested in getting them, you know, go pick them up or pre-order them if you're doing it now, or you know, you'll probably find in a week from this video being released they'll be available to order anyway. So yeah, it makes a lovely addition to anyone's collection. You know, if you want to do the 14th Brooklyn or any other Zouave regiments, this is a great way to do it. Nice and affordable as well. Obviously I forgot to mention the actual price of the box set. It's £29.50 at the time of recording, for 24 miniatures plus flags plus bases plus a little bit of snake rail fence. Not bad value, especially when any models like this available on the market will be metal, in this sort of uniform style. So yeah, this is going to be the cheaper way of doing it if you're happy with Warlord Resin. But yeah, I've not had any issues. So I'm going to end the video there. Again, I hope this has been useful to anyone, and keep an eye out for the video I do as the sort of finished completed painted job and review. Cheers guys.